Welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, and today we're going to be going over widgets and learning all sorts of things that we can do inside of them.
Alright, so what this is going to look like is when we walk through this little thing right here, there's a little invisible trigger box. It's going to show, it's going to show an emitter, and then we're going to explode, and then it's going to create a ragdoll, and it's just going to use physics to make the ragdoll land somewhere with that explosion effect. And then when I go through here, it's not using a trigger box, but it will do the same thing. It's using an actor blueprint. So there's that. And then it brings you to the desk screen. You can go to the main menu screen and you can start again. And then if you go through here, it does the same thing. So this is for the 3D version. And now for the 2D version, it does the same thing. We have a simple movement mechanics for our player, but then there's like an invisible box when we go over here. And then we go to the desk screen. It's the same thing again.
To start, we're going to need to get our third person template or first person, whatever you want. I would suggest the third person so that you can see, you'll find out later, but I would just suggest a third person template, or if you already have a character, just adding another camera and setting it to the character. If you don't know how to do that, it should be pretty easy. You can probably find a tutorial online. But first, I just got a simple Unreal Engine default game, nothing else to it besides a starter content enabled with it. But first, I'm going to get a folder called packs. I'm going to add in a feature or content pack, which is our third person template. Did it not add it into the packs? It didn't. Oh, that's annoying. Whatever. All right, and then comes with a blueprint. So yeah, make sure you add that in. And then once you do, we're gonna also, if you don't have a maps folder, make sure you add that. We're gonna open our third person map. Press play and make sure it works. And it does. There we go. So first, I'm gonna show you guys how to kill the player when he goes into a box and send him to the desk screen. So before making a main menu screen or a pause screen, I'm just going to start with the desk screen to see if the widget actually works. Just to introduce you guys how to, set a widget when a player overlaps into a collision of some sort, like a box collision, a capsule collision, a trigger box, or all that. Now, I'm going to show you how to do a trigger box and a box collision. So first, I'll start with a trigger box. So to add one into the game, you have to go to all classes and then type in trigger box. Now, I'm just going to put it right here. So when the player walks through this little wall area, he's going to die, and there's going to be like a little explosion, and then it's going to have like ragdolls going through his body and all that. I mean, not going through his body. He's going to have it's going to spawn a ragdoll, and then it's going to lose its input. He can't move around anymore. All right, so we can't actually add any code to this box until we go to the level settings. So make sure you have the trigger box selected, and then go to open level blueprint, and then we're gonna right click, add event or trigger box, go to collisions, add on actor begin overlap. Now make sure you don't set it to overlapped actor because it's not going to work properly. Make sure you set this or drag off of other actor and you get a reference to your third person character or whatever character you are using currently. So third person character, and then off of the execution we're going to say spawn emitter at location. You don't have to do this. You could just destroy the actor when he goes through it, or whatever you want to do. We just want to make sure that we can get the desk screen to show up. And obviously we're going to go in depth on widgets. So what this spawn emitter at location does, basically whenever we go through the trigger box, it will spawn whatever emitter. So like an explosion effect or some fire. I'm just going to select the explosion effect. And then right now, when we go through it, it doesn't know where to spawn this emitter. So we want to get our character's location. So to do that, we drag off of location and we say get actor location, uh, get actor location, and then that goes into our as VP third person character. So now it knows what location, what the target is, which is our character. That's where we're going to be. That's where we're going to locate the emitter. And then off of the execution, we're going to create a new custom event in our character and then add that custom event here. So first, locate your first person character blueprint, open it up, and then wherever you want, we're going to add a custom event. We're just going to call it ragdoll or whatever you want to call it. And then off of here, the execution, we're going to say set physics, simulate physics, and make sure you get the in parentheses mesh because we want to make our characters mesh simulate physics. So right now, I can show you what this does. This is not going to actually, this is going to make the ragdoll go into the ground because we haven't set the collision properly. So let me just show you what that actually looks like in the level. Okay, so when I walk through it, you can see the emitter is working, but my ragdoll is not going anywhere. So that's because I didn't actually set this custom event. So off of as BP third person character, we're going to say ragdoll and put it back in here. And now our player should go through the ground because his physics are not working properly. Inside the ground. There you go. We can still move around, still jump, but our character is like disappeared, which is kind of weird. So for this to actually work and for our player to actually just, I don't know, move, like explode onto the ground, what you have to do is go to your character, click on your mesh, look up collision in the detail section, go to collision presets and make sure it is the physics actor. And now when you press play, he does that. But we can still move the camera around, and we don't want to do that. We can still move the character around too. We don't want that. So let's get a delay. Let's say, I don't know. It takes them like what, like 2 to 3 seconds for the ragdoll to actually stop moving. And then we'll say disable input. Make sure it is the character. I can get a little reroute node real quick, make it look cleaner. And then our player control will just say it player controller. I cannot type today. And when we walk through it, 1, 2, 3, can't move. We don't want that still. Actually, we don't even need a delay. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, we don't need a delay. So you can't move it after you go in here. Yep. And it stopped the camera from moving. That's good. So after we do that, we also want to create a new widget, which is going to be the desk screen. So first, I'm going to say create widget. And now we have to add this to the viewport. It's going to give us an error when we compile because we actually haven't selected our widget yet. So we have to go make it. So we're going to go into our blueprints folder. We're going to get a new make a new folder and call it UI. We're going to go to user interface and create a new widget blueprint, user widget, and we'll call this desk screen underscore W for widget. Open it up. We're going to get a canvas panel, add it to desk screen. And then we're going to get a text. Actually, no, we're going to get an image. I can show you later how to play a video. But first, we're going to get an image. Let's just add this to the canvas panel. We're going to click on the image, and then we're going to set the X to 1920, and then by 1080. because this is just like the default screen resolution for most people. 1920. There we go. If you want to make it bigger, you can just extrude it up and all that, and then you can say clipping, clip to bounce for it to actually show properly when it shows it up to the screen. Yeah, make sure you anchor this image to the middle of the screen so that this image does not move around. Because wherever this anchor is, before it was right here, the image is going to move up to it as soon as the widget is opened. So yeah, make sure you put the anchor to the middle. And then we're going to make this image, I don't know, red. Kind of just makes the player feel like, I don't know, kind of just gives that player the vibe that he's dead, I guess. We're going to get a text. We're going to make the box bigger, and we're going to make the font bigger as well and say, you died. And then make sure the box, the square, make sure it looks like all nice like that, tucked in with the, I don't know, the square, whatever you call it. I don't know. We're going to anchor it to the middle, move this up, make sure it's in the center. Then we're going to get a button. Actually, no, first, to make, okay, so what you can do is get multiple buttons, one for the restart button, one for the main menu, but it's going to be annoying having multiple buttons, and like it's just gonna be a whole process trying to make it look even and all that. So you don't want to do it this way. What you want to do, or what this tool in Unreal Engine is called, oh, no, sorry, I cannot speak. Unreal Engine has this tool called a horizontal box and a vertical box. Now these are very useful tools for widgets. What the vertical box does is when you put something inside of it, it makes all those things, like for example a button, vertical, like it makes them go down. If it was horizontal, it would separate those buttons and make it go to the right. So in my case, I'm going to use a vertical box, anchor it to the middle, and then I'm going to add a button in. Just drag it into the vertical box, or you can just drag it in like that. And we're also going to get a second one. Then I'm going to get a spacer, which spaces, it spaces these two apart. As you can see now, I can see it barely adds a little bit of space when I do that. So you make sure you put that in the middle. And then we're going to click on both buttons, press fill. We're going to go back to the spacer, keep it on auto, and we're going to say like what, like 20, like 50, let's say, yeah, sure. It doesn't have to look perfect. I just want it to look somewhat decent. And it's good just to name all of the things you have in your hierarchy. So I'm going to name my button BTN for button, and then restart. And then this button will be the main menu. Make sure they are both variables so we can add code to it. Then we're going to get a text, drag that in there so automatically puts the text in the middle. We're going to select both, make them whatever color you want. I'm going to say make them black because it just makes you see them makes you see easier. And then for the first text box, it's going to say restart. And then the second box obviously is main menu. You can name it TXT for text, main menu. And then the restart text to restart. And then this should be good for now. So when you click on the, actually I'm going to make the font a little bit bigger. Just look better. All right. So off of restart, once you make it a variable, make sure you have that checked. I'm going to go off of on clicked. So when we click the button, we are going to restart the game. So how you do that? It's very simple. All you do is open a level by object reference. You can also do by name. You're gonna have to type out the level that you want to open exactly, or else it's not gonna work. In my case, I'm just gonna use by object reference because it's easier. You can make less errors that way. I'm gonna select the third, goodness gracious, third person map in my case. And that's it for restarting. So you can select it, press C to comment, and I'm just gonna call it restart. And then go back to the designer, on main menu button, on clicked. So we want to remove the current widget, which is our desk screen, so that we can go to our main menu screen. And obviously you don't need to put it as a target because the target is the self, the desk screen. I'm going to create a new widget. And then we're going to we're gonna have to copy and paste the desk screen and just make it a main menu screen. We're gonna say add a viewport. Compile it. Obviously it gives you the error because you haven't made it yet. We're going to duplicate this and call it main menu underscore W. Open it up. I'm just gonna make this black. Get the text and say main menu. You name it. And then txt main menu. Why is it giving me that error? Okay, interesting. And then center it. We're going to rename the restart button to the start button when we start the game. Main menu is just going to be a quit button. Obviously, you can add more buttons in here, like an options button, like a support button when when you're done with your game and you want people to support you or whatever, bring you to a link or I don't know, a help page, etc. But if you know how to add a button, you can do all the extra stuff basically. So yeah, we have the start and the quit button now, but now we need to actually set the code so we can delete the restart one. Actually, no, you can just keep all this actually. We're gonna rename this start button to this restart button to start, and then this main menu title to quit because it is the quit button. You can do it with the text as well. Renaming it just makes it a lot easier to locate and understand what the heck you're adding all the blueprints to. So when we start the game, you want to open the third person map. So there you go. So that can all stay the same. Some cases, some people can just create a new widget when they start the game, and then they have like multiple worlds. They can select which world they want. But in my case, I'm just gonna open the world as soon as I press start. And then next, what I can do is when I quit the game, I can delete all this. It's very simple. You can just say quit game, and the quit preference is quit, and that should be it. I can title this quit. I'm gonna go back here and title this main menu. Make sure you select your main menu once we've created it. That resolves that error. Now let's just try this out. Oh wait, what's my error? Oh yeah. So yeah, when we go in the trigger box, we want to make sure we select our restart. Actually, our death screen when we go into the trigger box. So now everything should be working. When we go inside of it, it shows the desk screen. I want to actually add a delay before it does that, so we can see our ragdoll first before we go to the desk screen. So in our third person map, I'm just going to move this over and then add a delay. I'm just going to put it as like 2 seconds. And then I'm gonna press play. Bam, see my actor, and then it goes to you died. Obviously you can see it has these spaces in between, so what I can do is first quit, go to our desk screen, and I'm just gonna put that up here more. And that should fix it. Yep, that you can't see the corners now. That's good. So yeah, let's see if the restart screen works and the main menu button. I press. Oh yeah, first we have to actually show our cursor. So right now you can't see our cursor. You have to actually program it to show the cursor. So off of event construct, we're going to say jet show mouse cursor. Target is our controller. Make sure it is this one that doesn't have a target behind it, and then you want to check it because we do want to show our cursor. So now it should show our cursor. Now we can see it. I restart it. It restarts the game. I go back into it. I press main menu, bring us to the main menu screen. Now I can just fix that as well if I want. There we go. And all that works. So let me just the main menu should work, but I'll just show it working. I press quit, quits the game. And then I press start, it starts the game back again. So that's all working. Now it's the polishing that we want to do. So instead of just when we die, it just instantly, or after 2 seconds, it just really fast pops up the screen. What if you just add like a little animation that makes it a lot more like, smooth when it shows the widget? Like I'll show you, for example, how to do that, how to make a widget animation. You have to go to your designer view, go to animations, make a new animation. I'm just going to call this fade in. Click on it. I'm going to just name everything that's in my hierarchy so it's easy to tell what I want to add in my animation. So I'm just going to call my background image img for image background. And then txt you died. And there we go. That's good. And then in here, we're just going to add all these things in. So my background, click on your text, click on that, and then click on your vertical box. And that should be it. You don't need to select your button or your text because when you add in your vertical box, it just tells the game, oh, everything that's inside of it will count as whatever you assign the vertical box to do, if that makes sense. So we want like a little smooth transition when we die to the widget. So to do that, we click on all the plus signs and we just say render opacity. Render opacity. Make sure it's on time 0. And then let's say after like what? Now let's say it takes a second. Yeah, it takes a second to fade in. So we add a new keyframe. And then at the end, actually no, the start, we don't want to actually see our screen at all. So our render opacity will be 0 for all of these, which makes it invisible. And then now you can see when I do this, it slowly shows the desk screen. It's like a smooth fade in. But that's not going to work. We're not going to actually see that because we haven't actually applied our animation. So to do that, I'm just going to quickly put this as faded in. And then I'm just going to go to my graph and my death screen. And then when we die, actually no. As soon as this is opened, you want to just go off of this. Or what you could do to make it more readable, you could just say sequence. This could go up here. select play animation. And we just drag in our fade animation in our variables to the in animation. And now it will show it. So now it shows it and looks pretty good. When we die, it slowly shows the death animation. Now, I just realized I don't know why the heck I added this delay. We don't need that. We can add like a little sound when our person dies. So when our player overlaps the trigger box, scoot this over. We can just say play sound 2D. And that could be whatever sound you want, like a death, or like someone screaming, I don't know, the player dying from the explosion. I don't know why I'm taking so long. Wait, this is, sure, that works. Give me whatever sound you want, just to show you that this works. There you go, you can hear the sound. Or you could just make that sound like an explosion sound once, because that happens right when you go into it. Yeah. Or you can add an explosion sound and the person screaming, or whatever you want. Doesn't matter. So that works. Now, let's say, let's say we want to. So we got the trigger box to work. Let's say we want to do this in an actor and add a box collision. This is a second way to get this this emitter to show up and kill our player. So to do that, we can go to our blueprints folder, and we're going to go to blueprint class, actor, and we're just going to say emitter explosion underscore AB. We're going to open it up. We're going to add a box collision. Yeah, so that should be all we need, honestly. Actually, no. Yeah. And then we go to, we just say add events, begin overlap. We don't need any of this, I'm pretty sure. And then off of other actor, we just cast our character again. We can really just go back to our third person map and then just copy all of that. And then just add it in here and it should work. It does the same exact thing. So as a reference, I'm going to just move that out of the way. I'm going to add in my emitter explosion, move it up, and I'm going to scale it like that, and then up. So then we walk to the right, it's going to do the same thing, but using an actor blueprint. There we go. So as shown, you can use an actor or a trigger box, and they both do the same thing as long as the code is identical. In some cases, you have to use a box collision because of whatever reason. In some cases, you have to use a trigger box for whatever reason to actually make the blueprints work. So it's just good to know that you can use both. So now that we got this working, we're going to go off on a little tangent for those 2D game developers out there, and we're going to show how to do this in a 2D game because it's a little bit different. So you can feel free to skip part of the video, and I'm just going to eventually come back to the widgets and make them real nice and pretty and all that. So we're going to make a new folder and call it sprites. This is where all our 2D images are going to go into. In our sprites folder, we're going to say player. This is where all our player sprites are going. And then we're going to make a new folder and call it ground. This is where all our ground sprites are going. We're going to go to our map. We're going to create a new map, which is going to be our 2D level. Make sure it's an empty level. Create, save it to our maps folder. Let's just look up maps. No. Where would this be? Third person maps. Select your Mac folder. There you go. And we'll just call this 2D level. Save it. And now we're going to go back to our sprites folder. And hopefully you guys have created your ground sprites or whatever your player is going to be walking on. I can send a link in the description of just a simple ground sprite for your player to walk on if you want to just test it out and not make it. And I can send one for the player. So for the ground, I already have one made from a previous game I made. I'm going to copy this in. And then apply paper 2D settings because it's a PNG. That looks good. And then we're going to create a tile set. Save it. I'm going to just rename this ground underscore TS for tile set. We're going to open it up. And then we want to add a box. And make sure that your tile's size is however big each image is or sprite is. So, or image. For my case, it's 16 by 16. So, just to show you what this does, without adding a box, I'm going to, it's just going to make the player fall right through it. It's not going to actually recognize this as like something for the player to walk on. You probably already know what I mean. I don't need to explain it. I need to add a box to actually make the player walk on it. So for all of these, I'll add a box. There is no fast way of doing this, by the way. There we go. We save it. And now we want to right click and create a tile map. Or a tile set, my bad. This is a tile map, right? No, this is a tile set. No, not a tile set. Yeah. You want to right click on this and create a tile map. There we go. I don't know why I was confused. Ground underscore TM for tile map. Click on it, and we're just going to say, yeah, 4 by what? 16. Zoom out and just you do this. This looks good. I'm going to save it. Then I'm going to add this into our game. Make sure the coordinates are just 0, 0, 0. We can move to it, and then we're going to make our player, our 2D character. So, yeah, there is no template just for a 2D character, so I'm gonna have to make one real quick. It's just gonna have a simple move left and right mechanic. So I'm gonna go to my player folder, and our blueprints folder. Actually, no, I'm just gonna make a new folder and call it 2D game, 2D underscore game, and then call it blueprints. And then in here, I'm gonna create my 2D character. It's none of these. You have to go to all classes and search up paper character. Click on that one, select it. I'm gonna name this 2D char underscore BP. Gonna open it up, and then I'm gonna actually add in a little sprite for the character so you can see him. So my player in this case, I'm just gonna use this little guy. It's an ancient drone from a game I'm gonna be making. And create extract sprite grid. In this case, this is a 32 by 32 image. And then we also want to make this into a flip book so it actually can show up in our 2D character. So we're going to click on a sprite, go to source flipbook, and we'll click on the ancient drone 1. Now you can see it here. I'm going to make him a bit smaller because he's going to show up as like a little bit big. That looks good. Click on the capsule. Going to decrease the size until it fits him. properly. That looks good. And this guy's going to be floating. He flies, so he's not going to be walking on the ground. He doesn't have his animation set. I only have one image just to make this simple. Obviously, you can add multiple animations together to make it look like a nice flying animation in my case, but I'm not going to do that. And then off of event graph, we're going to add some input actions to make our player move left and right. We're going to set our keys. So we're going to go to engine in our project settings, input, axis mapping. You're going to go to the new one that we just created. You add the plus sign. I'm going to say move underscore left underscore right. Click on that A, D. You can also use the arrow keys. And then this is going to be -1 and same as that to move left. And that should be it. We can close out our desk screen for now. And our emitter and our character. And then we're going to call that input action or the axis events, which is move left and right. Call that. And then off the execution, we're going to say set movement. No. What's it called? Set input. No, the heck am I? Wait, what's it called? Movement input. I'm dumb. It's been a long day. Oh my gosh. Movement input. Add movement input. There we go. Goodness gracious. And then our roll direction is going to be, sorry, our scale value is going to be our axis value. We're going to click on the axis value and we're going to get a greater sign and we're going to get a negative sign. We're going to get a branch. We're going to get another branch. And we're going to set these, like, wait a minute. Just click them both like that. Wait a minute. Yeah, no. That should work, I think. No, the X needs to be 1. Then we should move left and right once we add our character into the game. So let's just locate it right here. 0. Move them up. And then we also need to possess him in the game, which will be player 0 at auto possess player. Oh, we need a camera. What am I thinking? Okay, so we're gonna go in here and we're gonna get a spring arm. And we're also gonna get a camera attached to the spring arm. If it's in here somewhere, you can just attach it to the spring arm. Like that. And then I'm gonna have camera lag, just makes it look better. Something good to know if you guys don't have that. I'm gonna search up lag in the spring arm. Enable camera lag. 10's good. And then our camera is located right there. So we're gonna click on our spring arm, go to the rotate, and it's gonna rotate evenly like that, 90 degrees. Click on our camera and we're gonna move it in some more like that, so it's closer to the player. And then we're gonna press play. And now we can see he can move left and right. All nice. So that's working fine. And now we want to add the box that makes him go to the desk screen. So in my case, you can do the same thing again. You can do a trigger box, or you can do the active blueprint. So I'm just gonna use the active blueprint in this case, just to show you that it works. Where the heck did I put this? In here? Yeah. we're going to make the location 0. And then right here. When I go into it, it did not work because it's not set to the right character. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to reset the character to the 2D character. Cast to 2D character. And then just connect all of the these back together. Looks good. This needs to be connected to the 2D character as well. Yes, so we need to also make the ragdoll custom event inside the 2D character. So go to event graph, custom events, ragdoll, simulates physics, which is the sprite. Actually, we don't need to simulate physics, it's just a 2D character. Because he has no bone structure or mesh. So we don't even need ragdoll. Because it's a 2D game. I guess you could do that for a 2D game, but I have no bone structure in my character, so in that case, no. So yeah, it's just gonna disable the input, play the sound, delay. We can get rid of the delay, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And we can just go straight to the death screen. So back to our 2D level. I'm gonna delete this one, and I'm gonna add in the new one. And now it should work. There we go. We also need to edit what. Oh, we also need to duplicate the death screen. In this case, because this is for a 2D level, 2D game. Where the heck did I put it? In here. I'm going to duplicate this, and we're going to say 2D death screen. And then when we restart, we're going to make sure it's the 2D level. And then the main menu, we're also going to duplicate that. Just call it 2D main menu. And then off of start, we're going to say the 2D level. Close out of that. And then in our 2D death screen, we don't want to go to the main menu because that's for the third person game. We want our 2D main menu. Why is that not showing up? Wait a minute. Ah, I said 2, not 2D. 2D main menu, and then 2D main menu. There we go. So now when you press play and restart, it did not work. Oh wait, it's because you have to go to back to the emitter 2D version and make sure this is the 2D death screen. And now it should work. I die, I go to the 2D death screen, I restart, and it puts me back here. I go to the main menu, I start, it starts it from the, it goes to the 2D level when you press start. And that's all working. So there we go. That is how you do the exact same thing I just did in the third person game in a 2D game, or a 2D level. So now I can start going more in depth in the widgets a little bit. And so we can add a little pause screen. Let's just do that real quick. Because a lot of games have a pause screen, obviously. Pretty much every game has one. So it'd be good to know how to do that, which is, I'm sure you guys can figure it out. Since we made the death screen, it's very similar to making that. So we're going to go back to our UI screen, and we're going to, let's just duplicate the main menu and call it 2D blah blah blah, pause menu underscore W, open it, and then we're just gonna say paused, and then we can rename this one to resume, and then we can say main menu again. I don't, a lot of games don't have a quit screen on the pause screen. A lot of them just keep it on the main screen. So we'll just rename the button to main menu and this start button to resume. It was already on there. Okay. Blah blah blah. Okay. And then we'll rename the main menu to pause. Yep. Center it again. And then we can just delete this image. And I'm going to show you that the game has a blur tool. Now this just blurs the screen. So this is nice for pause screen menus. 1920 by 1080. Anchor it to the middle, and then we'll just make it bigger. Flip to bounce. And we'll set the blur strength to like 7. Make sure this is first, so it's not blurring the paused and the start buttons. And then off of, oh yeah, we need to make this say resume and make this say main menu. And then go to our code. Our resume button is just set or what's it called? Set game paused. And we want to unpause the game because we're resuming, so we don't check it. And then this is going to be our main menu. This is our resume. And then we want to remove the 2D main menu and go to, yeah, wait a minute. Yeah. We want to remove the pause menu and go to the main menu. So we just say remove from parent. Pretty much the same thing from earlier. It is the same thing from earlier. And then we create our widgets. This is going to be our 2D main menu. And then we're just going to add it to the viewport. And we're done with the simple pause menu. Now when we press, let's say we actually want to pause the game. So to do that, very quickly, we can go to our 2D character, and we're just going to get we're going to go back to our project settings, go to input, make a new axis mapping, and we're going to call it paused. And then we're going to say tab, and then we're also going to say P. We can't press tab because that ends, actually no, sorry, escape. We can't press escape when we're playing in the editor because it'll just end the game. So we have to say P as well to pause the game. Go back to our 2D character, type in pause, make sure it is the axis events paused. And then off of this, we're just going to say set game paused, enable it, create widgets, and then we're going to say pause, the 2D pause menu, and then add it to the viewport. And now it should work. Wait a minute. Okay, I see why. Wait.
It's weird. Oh, okay, so go to the project settings.
Yeah, I made it a axis mapping, not an action mapping, and this needs to be an action mapping. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete it, and then just say do the same thing but in the action mapping. So escape, and then P for pause. Go back here, and I'm gonna say type in paused again. My bad, guys. And then it starts showing up. There we go. Pause. There. Now it should work. When we press P, it pauses the game, but it does not show our cursor. So I want to go back to the pause screen. You can construct set show mouse cursor. We do want to show it. Get player controller. You can say pause. Press P, shows our cursor. Resume. Resume is not working. Why is it not working? That's because we haven't removed it from, we didn't remove the pause screen. So it is resuming, it's just not removing the screen. So in our 2D pause menu, we're going to go to our resume, and we're going to remove from parent. I'm just going to check this. But now it should work. Press P, and it resumes, and now we can move it again. When we also we don't want to, I can't get rid of my cursor when I press resume. So to get rid of it, I'm going to say set show mouse, keep it unchecked. Keep it unchecked. I don't think we need our target. We do need our target. Okay. Let's just drag it down from there and then get a reroute node like that. I press P, I resume, and it gets rid of our cursor. Press P, resume, and get rid of our cursor. There we go. So now the pause menu is working. That's working all nice. Now let's show you how to open a URL in your pause menu. Because sometimes people want to do that for like a support screen. I'm gonna delete this once I make it for you, because I don't really want it on my pause menu. You would probably just add like a support button. But just to make it quicker, I'm gonna add a new button, and instead of creating a whole new widget for the support page, I'm just gonna put it on the pause menu instead. And I don't need it in the canvas panel. I'm just gonna say btn support, add a text, and you can say, I don't know, let's say you want, when you click this, you want to go to Google, txt Google, or browser. Google's fine. And let's say the text can say Google. Then we want to make it a variable. On clicked, when we click it, you want to just say launch URL, and you can just say www.google.com. Then we press play. T, press it, it launches Google right there, as you can see. Once again, I press it again and it shows it. There you go. That's how you launch a URL. So I'm just going to delete that. Now you guys know how to do it. Now, let's get to customization for the buttons. So you obviously probably don't want to use the default button look. Let's say you want to make your own look for the button. So in my case, I already made one. I'm going to go to where it's located, which is, this is the wrong game. blue button. Let's just use this one. The size of this button is 200 times 60. So in order to make this image look exactly like it is, you have to get an image, a button that is the exact same size as the image. So 200 by 60. We get a button. Put it on our canvas panel. Oh, I move my canvas panel around. So yeah, you get a button, add it to our canvas panel, and then, oh my gosh, what am I gosh? What the heck? This goes here. Oh man, okay, going a little too fast. BTN, and we'll just say example. And for the size, we say 200 by 60. Now we want to add a new folder, we'll call it images, buttons, import. Actually, no, we'll just go back to this file and we import it in. And that's working fine. And we just click on this and we click on the button, relocate the image wherever it's at, style, normal, click on that. There you go. And now it's showing up. Now you can also get a text, put it on there, and we can say, I don't know, button. There you go. Now you probably also don't want to use the default engine font. And as you see, when you click on font family, you only have 3 options. This is what Unreal Engine comes with, only three fonts. So you have to manually add fonts into the game. So what website I use that's safe is this website called DaFont. You can go to it, and I'm just going to download the first font. Study Alone is what it's called. We're going to go back to our files. We're going to unzip or extract these files. And we only need this file. We can just go ahead and delete these. We only need that file. So I don't need this. Let me go back up there, and I don't need this. So we're just going to add that font to the game once we've downloaded it from there. And then we're going to set it to the text. So we can just make, I don't know, and I guess this shouldn't be in the images folder, but you can. We'll just say fonts. And then we'll just add that font family in. It's not working. Interesting. Let's see if we need this. No. Interesting. Just add in. No. Huh. Oh, there we go. I just say yes. Okay, so what I did was, yes, you don't need these two. You just need to go in here and say yes, import, and then it should import. So here is our font. You can customize in here if you want. I'm not going to. It should just automatically show up in your font family now. When you click on the font that you just added in, which is Study Alone font, you can see that it just changed. See that? So that's how you add in a font, a custom font. And I never mess with font material, but yeah, you can mess around with that if you want. You can mess around with all the colors and stuff. You can make it more transparent. I usually don't. But yeah, that's how you add in a custom button image and a custom font for your buttons. So that should be pretty helpful for you guys.